and welcome back to EFD's Scout Report. Today we're looking at 5 players who could switch teams and help them compete for the Champions League in 2020. 5. De Ligt to Barcelona. 2018-19 was yet another season of domestic dominance for Barcelona, who swept up their 26th La Liga title, 11 points clear of second place Atleti. However, the Champions League favourites dropped out of the tournament after a dramatic collapse that saw them surrender a 3-0 lead at Anfield, meaning that they failed to reach the final for the last 5 campaigns. Something that probably wouldn't be causing alarm anywhere else, but for the Blaugrana and their star man, it's causing endless frustration. One signing that could power Barcelona above their European rivals would be that of Ajax wonderkid captain Matthijs de Ligt. The 19-year-old has already announced his future lies away from Amsterdam, and despite interest from Man United, he's hinted he'll be joining his teammate Frankie de Jong in Catalonia next season. The switch from the Johan Cruyff Stadium to the Camp Nou would be an easy one, thanks to Cruyff himself. The Dutchman helped instill a very similar philosophy at both clubs, and while the brand might be slightly different, the values remain the same. Confident with the ball at your feet and ability to pick a pass, De Ligt has averaged a pass accuracy of 90%. Much like Barca, Ajax dominant possession in the league, and De Ligt is rarely caught out of control, having to make just 2.1 tackles and interceptions per 90 minutes. On average, the Dutchman has dribbled past 0.4 times per 90 and dispossessed just 0.2 times a match. While it's not good news for strikers in the Liga, a partnership with Longley, who loses the ball 0.6 times a game, and life is looking very rosy for Ter Stegen between the sticks. The teenager will bring youth and leadership into the squad, but he won't be cheap. However, if he can bring the Champions League back to Barcelona, surely that's money well spent. 4. Coutinho to PSG. In recent years, PSG have been a fierce force in French football, winning the Liga and crown 8 times, 6 of those coming since 2012, as well as another 15 domestic trophies since the arrival of their Qatari owners and their very deep pockets. However, no matter how much money their investors can pump into the French capital, it has failed to buy them the Champions League trophy. Since forking out a record-shattering €220 million for Neymar, PSG have failed to get any further than the quarter-finals in the competition. So why not try spending big on his mate this time round? 26-year-old Philippe Coutinho hasn't quite settled in Catalonia after moving to the new camp in January 2018 for £142 million. And rumours that he's after a way out are coming thick and fast. First linked with a switch to Chelsea should they lose Eden Hazard this summer, but in the wake of their transfer ban, it leaves only one club willing to spend €160 million on the out-of-favour and out-of-form forward: PSG. Over the course of 2018-19, the Brazilian made just 22 La Liga starts, finding the net just 5 times and assisting his teammates only twice. A far cry from his creative output he produced in his final full season in Merseyside, when he peaked with 13 goals and 7 assists. Despite his drop-off, his performances in the Champions League for Barca prove he is still a top-quality player, with the ability to rock the European boat. With 3 goals and 3 assists, Coutinho contributed a goal every other appearance. It seems this summer the Parisians will be saying au revoir to 31-year-old Angel Di Maria, so they should spend big to bring in Coutinho. The Brazilian might be ready to prove his critics wrong and perform in Europe. 3. Ndombele to Manchester City. Manchester City's absence from the final stages of the 2019 Champions League was largely down to the VAR ruling out Raheem Sterling's heroics against Tottenham. So ahead of next season, maybe all Guardiola needs is to keep his fingers crossed for more forgiving circumstances. However, we have focused in on one potential problem in the Catalonian squad. City's midfield linchpin Fernandinho has proved to be extremely difficult to replace. The 34-year-old's role in front of the very progressive defenders keeps Pep's plans ticking along, and the side looked weaker during the Christmas period when the Brazilian was ruled out with injury. Turning 35 next season, City need to find someone who can provide creativity from deep, but also competently defend a counter-attack. Our suggestion: Lyon's 22-year-old Tanguy Ndombele. A crucial figure in the Ligue 1 side this season, the defensive midfielder has proven his worth creatively, assisting his teammates 7 times from deep and scoring once. Ndombele impressed in the Champions League group stage against City themselves, And while his lack of experience keeps him a long way off of the reliability of Fernandinho, his stats are looking very promising. In the Champions League, the Frenchman averaged a high 4.9 tackles and interceptions per 90 and proves confident on the ball with an 89% pass accuracy and only dispossessed once per 90. Despite being 12 years younger, he can't quite keep up Fernandinho's defensive numbers, putting 0.3 blocks per 90 to the Man City man's 1. A price tag of around €50 million is unlikely to put City off, but interest from Tottenham and Juventus could drive this upwards. While he might not be the finished product right now, the DM will certainly improve playing under Guardiola and next to Fernandinho. 2. Sané to Bayern Munich. Arguably, Leroy Sané is already well positioned at Man City for future Champions League success. Having secured a second league title, we can only imagine that Guardiola will be going gung-ho in the Champions League next season. However, the 23-year-old German only started 4 times in City's Champions League run to the quarter-finals. Recent rumours are linking him with a summer switch to Germany, which could kill 2 birds with one stone. Sané gets more minutes and Bayern contend for the trophy. The perennial champions of Germany have been forced to rethink their transfer plans after a long-term Achilles injury bought Callum Hudson-Odoi a residency in the Blues' physio table rather than a ticket to Bavaria. But the departure of legends Robben and Ribery mean Bayern need to conduct some big business should they want to keep battling on all fronts next season, and Leroy Sané makes for a very smart investment. Fighting Raheem Sterling and Bernardo Silva for a chance at the Etihad, Sané played 47 times in all competitions, with around a third of his appearances coming from off of the bench. With 16 goals and 18 assists in all competitions, he's averaged a goal involvement every 70 minutes. His performances in the Champions League have been particularly impressive, with 4 assists and 4 goals in 4 starts and 4 appearances off the bench. His ability to shine against the toughest competition comes from his fearless nature that's seen him make a huge 9.3 dribble attempts per 90 minutes, 1.6 key passes and 1.5 shots on average per game. Sané would offer Bayern Munich a lot going forward, which could spike their output that's been overly reliant on Lewandowski this term. Sané will offer Bayern Munich a fresh and fiery attack down the right, but with Guardiola unkeen on the youngster leaving Manchester, his price tag is going to break the German's record, with rumours claiming the ex-Schalke man could cost in the region of €100 million. 1. Mbappé to Real Madrid. Kylian Mbappé dropped a bombshell at the awards ceremony for Ligue 1's Player of the Year when he collected the award and hinted that he could be on his way out of Paris this summer. While PSG have claimed the 20-year-old World Cup winner is staying put, we think a move to Real Madrid could give Los Blancos the firepower to regain the European trophy. Only Leo Messi has scored more than Mbappé this season, with the youngster racking up 32 goals and 7 assists in just 23 starts for the Parisian champions, and 59 goals in 86 games in total. So far, the youngster has already collected 2 league titles and the French Cup with PSG, but remains on the losing side in the Champions League. So making a switch to historically dominant in the continent, Real Madrid might be attractive. Over the course of the 18-19 season, Madrid scored 63 goals, 30 fewer than Barcelona, so they're in desperate need of firepower up front. Right now, Benzema is leading the way with Madrid for 25 goals this term, with outgoing Bale in the second most of the squad. But Mbappé has recorded a goal every 70 minutes, so we'd expect him to jump straight to the top of that leaderboard. The Frenchman takes on average 4.4 shots per 90 and makes 1.6 key passes per game. You might expect a drop-off when he leaves France, but his output in the Champions League suggests that he's well equipped against tough opposition. In 8 UCL appearances, Mbappé has more than a goal involvement a game, with 4 goals and 5 assists. PSG are not keen on selling, and a figure of around 200 to 250 million euros is hanging around his neck, which prices out pretty much every other suitor. But never having sorted a replacement for Ronaldo, and with a Bale-shaped hole about to appear, if Real want their hands on the Champions League trophy again, then Kylian Mbappé is the best option. Thank you for watching. That was 5 transfers that could win a club at the Champions League. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And if you can't get enough of the Champions League, why don't you go over and watch Stat Wars the Champions? Semi-final between Zach and Mikey McCubbin. Obviously go and watch that.